Hello there, pasture heads. It is me, Mr. Moohead. How y'all doing? It's Friday and time for the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Join me for the next however many minutes I talk uh, for more information on how the preseason has started before the preseason started with Cleveland Browns injuries. You knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. How's everybody doing? I know that I'm having a real good time and getting some more furniture into the house tomorrow. So got some deliveries coming and had a really good time singing some karaoke with Rocks. Actually, around the Wadsworth area at a sports bar there, kind of a pub arrangement. Real nice karaoke setup. We had a good time. And we just found ourselves in Wadsworth and ate at a restaurant there, the Great Oaks Tavern. And around the corner is Spunkmeyer's Pub and Grill, something like that. Yeah. And we had a good time. So free pimpage on the show that nobody listens to. So it's all started, and I don't even want to talk about Perrion Winfrey right now because Browns wide receiver Marquise Goodwin is going to miss the start of training camp with blood clots. And then Anthony Schwartz and two others are on non-football injury lists. Now, let's start with Goodwin first. He's 30 going on 62. All right. We knew this when we picked him up. I didn't think that he was going to make it. Everyone was hoping for his speed to be something that would help the team out. But, you know, his stats have been diminishing, injuries every year. But this is a real different animal. Blood clots in his legs and lungs, folks. He'll start camp with a declared non-football illness. Goodwin, who was signed by the hapless Browns this offseason, said he began experiencing discomfort in his legs and slight shortness of breath during organized team activities in the spring. And a checkup revealed the blood clots in his legs and lungs. Let me tell you this. We're going to consult Dr. Moo. This is the end of his season. He can't play no more. He's done. I can say this with 100% certainty because the first thing they're going to do if a guy's got blood clots in his lungs and his legs is give him a blood thinner like warfarin. And the second he goes on blood thinners, because he has a predilection, obviously, for blood clots that could go to his brain and kill him, the warfarin thins your blood and protects you, but he can't play football ever again. Before we even got to see what he could do on the field, I'm telling you that Marquise Goodwin is gone. And he would be a fool to try to come back because he'll die on the field. I'm not kidding. He'll bleed out. I've had friends who were on warfarin or, the anti-blood clot regimen. All they do is bump themselves on a piece of furniture and they bruise completely. If they cut themselves, they go hemophiliac city. I mean, they just bleed and bleed and bleed. It's a bad situation. I wish Marquise Goodwin all the best in his life outside of football, because I don't want to see him on a football field ever again. Not because of anything personal. I want him to live. That's more important. And as if that wasn't enough, Anthony Schwartz, the gift that keeps giving. You know, he's not fighting for a roster spot. They keep saying that, but it's not the case. He's going to begin training camp with a non-football injury. He is joined there by guard Colby Gossett and 2022 draft pick Michael Woods. We knew Woods ruptured his Achilles training this offseason. If you draft somebody in your Cleveland, he rips his Achilles while working out, right? The non-football injury list is for players specifically who suffered injuries or ailments outside of NFL activities. As for Schwartz, the less said, the better. He opened up last year to, of all places, the private place, Cleveland.com, about his mental health struggles and how a difficult preseason, including multiple dropped passes, impacted him. Don't we research this shit? Didn't we know? We didn't know about mental health struggles and we drafted a guy? What in the fuck's going on here? Anything that hit him causes a concussion anyway. He shouldn't be playing football. And as far as I saw with my eyes, he never did. On top of all this, the veterans are reporting to training camp in Perrion on Friday, and they're going to travel to West Virginia. We are Marshall. It's not funny, but I wouldn't be traveling anywhere with my starting players if I were the Cleveland Browns. I'd be just hunkering down and praying to the baby Jesus that somebody doesn't get decapitated. They're going to stay in West Virginia through July 30th, which is interesting. That's 10 days. And it's funny. It's in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. We talked about this. Guy goes into his doctor and he says, "So what's the news, doctor? You just did my checkup." Doctor shakes his head and says, "I'm sorry, man. You got 6 months to live." Guy goes, "Oh my God. What am I going to do?" And the doctor says, "Move to West Virginia. It'll make 6 months seem like an eternity." They'll stay in West Virginia through July 30th. And the Browns have helped shore up the loss of Marquise Goodwin by signing wide receiver Austin Watkins, who most recently played for the Birmingham Stallions in the USFL. He had all of 197 receiving yards for the Stallions this season. Who is he? He's 6'1.5", 207 pounds, and he's the cousin of Sammy Watkins. We're down now to praying to the baby Jesus for familial genetic relationships at the wide receiver position. No, Anthony Schwartz cannot make this team, Radu. I promise you, he can't. I won't let it happen. Oh, God. It started already. It's sickening. And I guess I have to mention Perrion Winfrey, don't I? Why did it take so long to cut Perrion Winfrey? This is Mary Kay Cabbagehead. What took so long? They needed a defensive lineman, and they would do anything to try to make this guy work, but he's got problems, man. Serious problems. And I don't even want to get into what it might be because we talked a little bit about that last time, honestly. He's not a well person. You know, it was just a matter of time. Just wait until he did the next crazy ass thing and you're going to cut him, and that's the end of it. So why did it take so long? Well, that's a stupid question. I think everybody knows why he's off the team, and that's all that matters. He's never going to play professional football anywhere like so many other Cleveland Browns reaches. Year after year goes by, and this continues to occur. And before the season begins, the confidence of the team is shattered. Guys are limping off the field. I keep seeing it every single damn year. You know something? Michael Miniman actually has a point. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Makes Lawyer Tillman look like an all pro. I spend years trying to forget about Lawyer Tillman, but Lawyer Tillman was just a redo of Willis Adams. So I got you trumped there because I'm older and more feeble than you are. I could go all the way back to Willis Adams. It's like, you know, what a great idea. We're going to draft Willis Adams. No, he doesn't catch the ball with his hands. He traps it on his chest. And that's why they keep bouncing into the defender's hands. Unbelievable. And Jim, you're absolutely right. The smartest men in the room are the Ivy League guys. And let me tell you something. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I know people who in their appointed businesses never had to go to Wharton Business College or never had to go to an Ivy League school. There are great lawyers out there who never attended an Ivy League school. You get into the Ivy League because either A, your parents knew somebody, B, they're benefactors of the university, or C, you had immaculate grades and a very small pecker. Those are the only reasons I know of. But I get sick and tired of, well, we've got this front office that's full of Ivy League graduates. But they do the stupidest things. That's the thing I don't get. You can't keep giving them a pass. It's really dumb. The whole thing. They kept Winfrey because they thought they got a first-round talent in the fourth round. That's it. They think. They're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. It's funny. They're asking themselves, what are the biggest questions about the Cleveland Browns? Oh, they never win. Are they going to win this year? That's the biggest question, right? So, is Deshaun Watson going to be able? I'll do this right. Is Deshaun Watson able? I don't know what Deshaun Watson by himself can do, and I don't think anybody knows that. You keep asking questions, and how long will Deshaun Watson respond to the national snub? Well, the national snub wasn't as bad as jerking off on women. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I kind of look at it. I think with the millions and millions of guaranteed dollars that he's making, he can handle a national snub. Will Kevin Stefanski maximize Watson's playmaking ability? No. He doesn't maximize anybody's playmaking ability because he's a dumb fuck. I can answer these questions before the season begins. You can always tell when a business is run well versus not well. You can always tell when coaches motivate players and when they don't. And all you had to do was take a look all last season at, the games that they won. Kevin Stefanski's weak sauce, man, trying to give these pep talks to players. It was embarrassing. Yeah, we really went out there and did I'm giving a game ball. Give it a game ball to Joshua Dobbs because We did such a round of applause. Come on. Rah rah. Sis boom ba. I mean, and the players saying, can we change our clothes, please, and get the fuck out of here? You know? Kevin Stefanski hasn't maximized anybody. He hasn't. The amazing thing is that Nick Chubb has done what he's done, right? He doesn't maximize, Stefanski doesn't maximize him, not in the least. Didn't maximize Kareem Hunt. Well, Michael, my prediction for the Browns wins this year. 7 or 8. Don't they usually do that? 7.5. Yep, that's what my answer would be. I got no I really have no positivity to bring to this. Look at this question. Is Joshua Dobbs the right backup for Deshaun Watson? No. I know it. You know it. The fucking world knows it. The man's got no arm. But he's really a bright guy, you know? Well, then get him an engineering job. You can be the smartest man in the world if you can't get the ball from point A to point B. No. Is Joshua Dobbs the right backup? No, I have no fucking money, man. They mismanaged it. They blew out all their money on one quarterback, and you knew that his backup, I mean, Joshua Dobbs is nowhere near as good as Jacoby Brissett. Okay? I'm going to make it easy. These are not questions that we have to ponder. It's stuff that our own eyes have seen. Goodness gracious. The addition of Elijah Moore has Browns fans excited. Well, if you were popping all the Viagra that Browns fans pop in the preseason before a single snap happens, you'd be pretty excited too. Elijah Moore is not going to beat anybody deep, and we know that the only way that Marquise Goodwin now will beat somebody deep is 6 feet under if they were to allow him to play. Consequently, Elijah Moore is going to be working in the middle of a shortened field like everybody else. And Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to say, would you get out of my way? We're going to be stuck down again in 15-yard hell. It's pathetic. How will Nick Chubb's role change? They might throw him the ball more often. But, you know, who knows what Kevin Stefanski's idea of a more open offense is? I don't want Nick Chubb in the passing game. I want him to run the ball from scrimmage and rip the hearts out of opponents. I want him to wear down the defensive line of the opposition. Every word, Jim. I'm not ripping on Moore. He's quick with his feet in short space, but he is not a deep threat. That's just it. He's a guy who could run the slot, who can run wide, but he's going to slant across the field, and he has little good, fast, choppy steps to get that little bit of separation, but he isn't a guy who's just going to, blow by you. He's not that guy. We don't have anybody to keep the other team honest. Look who's at my side, the amazing Topaz DeWolf. It's nice to have him on the show, too. That's right, Rick. Yeah, that's it was like you know, the idea of what style was in baseball in the 1960s. Jim Bouton described before the 70s came and we had Reggie Jackson and all that. Uh, that wearing your cap at a jaunty angle, that's what uh, that's what style was. And yeah, an open offense means another way to throw a ball 3 yards to your tight end. Can Jerome Ford excel as Chubb's backup? If Jerome Ford is on the field, then it's good news because maybe we're controlling the line of scrimmage. But if we're constantly 3rd and 8 like we have been, he's not going to see the field. So can he excel? No, because if he's on the field too much, first of all, you want to use 2 running backs as sledgehammers. And I get this every year. It's like, well, we're going with Deshaun Watson. No, I get it. They needed a quarterback. And they wasted another draft on Baker Mayfield. I get that. But every year we say the same thing. You're playing in the AFC North. You have to do 2 things. You have to be able to run the football, and you have to be able to stop the run. And we have not been able to stop the run. If we can stop the run and get our hands back on the ball with shorter fields, we can wear teams out. But that's not what Kevin Stefanski does. If we were wearing a team out at the line of scrimmage, he would still run a fucking flea flicker. I swear to God. So Jerome Ford could only be as good as what our defense is, folks. Because if we have more offensive plays that would give him the opportunity to be out on the field, he'll get a chance. But if it continues like it has in the past several years, he's not going to see the field. Kareem Hunt didn't either. It'll be the same thing. Will David Njoku make another leap this season? No. Njoku, the Browns love him more than anyone else I know. I still don't think he has the best hands. For all the talk about how athletic he is as a tight end, he's really kind of a big wide receiver, How come other tight ends get more open more often? How come guys who have moving van speed get more open than David Njoku? Why don't they look to him more if he is wide open? You can't make a leap if people aren't throwing you the fucking ball. Next question. What impact will Jordan Akins have? He's a second fucking string tight end. And I know Kevin Stefanski loves the 2 tight end. He likes 3 tight ends. And he likes a reach around too. Jordan Akins is a pass catching tight end. He's not a run blocker. And it's funny because, Harrison Bryant was brought in because he was allegedly a pass catcher, but not really a run blocker. Njoku was supposedly a pass catcher and not a run blocker, but he improved his run blocking, so they say. So what impact will Jordan Akins have? The familiarity of having played with Deshaun Watson before? But how much is he going to be on the field if he can't run block? Because no matter what Stefanski says, it's always what he does. And Jim, you're absolutely right. The pistol and shotgun, I mean, they're not going to run standard snap play action with this quarterback. That's what their idea of an open, we're opening up the offense. You got to play to the strength of the man who's making all that guaranteed money. And it's going to be tough when a team knows you're going right into the pistol and the shotgun. They're going to be firing out their pass rushing ends. That's the way it works. And Nick Chubb will not be seeing the same holes that he saw. We will not be running the same zone read offense that we were doing. It changes a whole lot of shit. I want to say hi to a friend, Christopher Milton Sr. I'm sorry what you're going through, dude. I know it all too well. Christopher's had a rough go. He lost his mother a year ago, and then his mother's cat that he was taking care of passed away as well. The loss of an innocent pet is one of the hardest things to handle. And I say, hang in there. And as for the other cat, Milo, feed him by hand, my man. Feed him by hand. That cat misses the other cats, feeling terrible. Make that cat feel special and loved. And really make an effort to feed him by hand. That's the best information I can give you. And I hope everything is okay. I'm sorry this is going this way for you. And Jim is like, and the weak link are the tackles. This is going to be what's so hard about. People keep saying to me, we're playing all of these divisional opponents in the first 4 weeks of the season or 5 weeks of the season, and it's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be double tough. There's no preseason games really to speak of anymore. You got to come out firing, and we're going to be coming out firing from the shotgun and from the pistol. So we can't afford to be behind and try to catch up to speed. You have to start out well. And we never, even the year that Baker led us to the playoffs, it wasn't that we got off to a fast start. It was what, 2-2 after 4? I mean, wouldn't you just once like to have a 3-1 start the first 4 games? And it's just not likely to happen just because of the changes. That's one thing that never changes, or the changes. What's next for Donovan Peoples-Jones? He'll continue running 10 and 12-yard patterns. Will Elijah Moore break out this season? It depends if they give him Stridex pads or not. What kind of a question is that? Is he going to break out this season? How many years do you wait? And the answer is obviously a ton, because we're still waiting for Njoku to break out. Did you ever think that some of these players are just nice players, but they're not breakout players? Who will receive the most, or the second most passes, targets this year? I mean, I want the guy who's open. Maybe it's just me, but I'm just really tired of the notion of people running down the field open and they never see the ball. I don't know. It's just aggravating. Very, very aggravating. the, I don't know what else to tell people. I really don't. I can't tell you how many times receivers were open and ball didn't find its way there. Everyone says, well, Amari Cooper's going to get the most targets, but who's going to get the second? I mean, the open guy, okay? Whoever gets fucking open. What kind of a stupid question is that? If the reads are there, open guys will get their hands on the ball. If not, it will continue being the Cleveland Browns. Will Jedrick Wills Jr. make the case for a contract extension? They picked up his fifth-year option, but he's not motivated. Answer, no. If you're not motivated, it doesn't fucking matter. Because if you're playing on the offensive line, you're trying to stop the other team's leading pass rusher, sack master. If you're not into it mentally, if you're not playing with a high motor, if your little left foot hurts you, you're not going to make it. Oh, God. What is the outlook for David Bell and Anthony Schwartz? We already know that Anthony Schwartz is with Martini and all the others. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. What am I going to tell you? What do I see? What is the outlook for Anthony Schwartz? I hope he gets well. I hope they find the right medication. What is the outlook for David Bell? We don't need another receiver who runs 8 yards down the field. I don't know. David Bell can catch the football. He proved that at Purdue. We know that. The question about him is a lack of speed. And he's not a route runner like Jarvis Landry turned out to be. So he's got to sharpen his routes and he's got to work on his footwork. And David Bell has a chance. Anthony Schwartz has a chance too to live a relatively healthy life if he finds the right medications. Right? Why do they ask these questions? This is the one that really bothers me the most. Will Myles Garrett win Defensive Player of the Year? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. He's one guy. It's almost like the people in Cleveland want to say, well, we got the guy who leads the league in sacks. We have a dominant player. I want a dominant team. I want a well-rounded team that wins close games and that gets into the playoffs. That's what I want. And I don't give a shit about individual honors. I don't care. We ask this question every year. Myles Garrett plays well, but we never quite figure out what's missing in Myles Garrett, and I'm sick of talking about it. Will Za'Darius Smith have double-digit sacks this year? Who in the hell cares? You know what I want? I want the defense to have more sacks this year. But it's not just sacks. It's quarterback hurry-ups. What I want to see is a Browns defense that really runs to the ball and really gives a damn about what they're doing out there and plays aggressively. And there's so many things that can happen. And I'm sick of these individual stats. If we intercept more passes because quarterbacks have to throw a ball, 0.3 of a second or 0.5 of a second faster because they feel pressure and it results in a ball getting there too early or too late. If he has to pull the ball down and go to a secondary receiver, if it bounces off somebody's hands, that's interception time. Tip drill. Hello, McFly. And we don't do that. Not in years past. I don't care about Za'Darius Smith's individual numbers, Myles Garrett's individual numbers. All I care about is that players are really rushing to the ball and that we force teams into mistakes. What kind of jump will Martin Emerson Jr. make? I thought he was good last year. I think he showed some really good coverage ability, but he needs to be able to do more than just play outside. He's got to be able to play inside, take advantage of his size as well. That's what he's got to work on. He's got to become a little bit more well-rounded rather than just being the guy who they put outside. In this defensive scheme, he's going to be asked to play in multiple positions. We'll see how he looks doing that. Who's going to start next to Dalvin Tomlinson? Well, you know it's not Perrion Winfrey, right? I don't care. Somebody has to win the fucking job. All I want is for this camp to be spirited and that our defensive players aren't just playing to see who's the starter, but when we rotate players in and out, that they all play with a high motor, with urgency. And I haven't seen that in years. And the day that I see it, I'll be the first to tell you. And the second they lay down, I will be the first to tell you because I've seen it too many damn times. Can the Browns count on linebackers coming off of injuries? I don't know that they can count on linebackers because the front office doesn't care about linebackers. So why does it matter? You bypass every good opportunity to draft good linebackers. And you know why? Because you want the Ravens and the Steelers to get them. That's why. And they always do. So why are we continuing to talk about this? Make it stop. Will Cade York find consistency? He's got to find consistency up here. He's got to realize that he's coming in to do a specific job and not to overanalyze the whole thing. Leave him alone and let him get on with it. Will he find consistency? You know, place kickers, field goal kickers were born to win and born to lose. Even the best kickers wound up messing up somewhere and getting traded, then refinding themselves. It is so much of a mental thing. Will the Browns find a spark in their return game? If you remember names like Eric Metcalf, oh, come on, help me with names. People who actually, Joshua Cribbs. Who is the little guy? Ice Cube McNeil. I mean, if we have to go this far apart between anybody who is dangerous returning kicks on special teams, are they going to find a spark in their return game? From what I've seen, the blocking wasn't good. I'm hoping with a new, special teams coordinator that it will, no returns in the NFL anymore. They've just about taken care of that. You're right. These questions are what Cleveland.com insists are the most important raging questions that Cleveland Browns fans want to know the answers to. I'm done with it. Ay, 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 ay. Do I sound like I'm negative about the Browns? It's show me every year. I'm Mr. Missouri. Just fucking show me. I don't want to hear about this shit anymore. I don't want to talk, discuss, prognosticate. I don't want to do that. I just want to sit back and I want to see it. And if I don't see it, I'm going to be just as disappointed and just as caustic and angry as I've been for the last 21 years doing this program. Why, thank you, Amsterdam. I am losing weight since I came to Ohio. And that's a good thing. Had a hell of a rainstorm here last night. My goodness. It was, I mean, we had a tornado warning. The good old days in Ohio, man, the tornado warnings. Huddling in your basement in a closet. I want to die. It's like, oh, yes, I remember this. Oh, my. For Cleveland Guardians fans, you know, chin up, Bucky. All you did was blow your 20th save of the year. I don't, you know, why are they putting Francona through this? He's not a well man. Not a well man. I don't know how you breathe life into the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't know how you do it, but our bullpen could do it. It's just horrible. It's horrifying. If it's not Trevor Stephan, it's that Henches guy. Fucking left-hander who's got no command, and he gets slugged every time he goes out there. The guy's got over a 6 earned run average. Can we please get him off the roster? Please. Now we're playing the Phillies, and the Phillies are a 52-win team, and no. More and more of our pitchers keep getting hurt. If you want to watch the game tonight, Gavin Williams, who's worth watching, young pitcher, 1-2 with a 3.94 earned run average, versus Suarez, Ranger Suarez. Then Tanner Bybee, who's been really good, 5-2 with a 3.32 ERA, against Zach Wheeler, who's been around the league more than a couple times, 7-4 with a 4.04 earned run average. And then the famous TBD versus Aaron Nola. We don't even know who's going to pitch. And you know what I've heard? It's that horrible Battenfield guy. If you want to know what the Guardians are, they're struggling to get to 500, and we know a few things about that. Teams that struggle to stay close to 500 end up with having losing streaks, and that will be the death in the end of the team. Okay? And it's a shame. It's wasting a hell of a year for Josh Naylor, who can't keep hitting this way, having an amazing season. But it's the bullpen. 20 blown saves. You know, that's the amazing thing. It's the death wish, but the weather's supposed to be nice. You know, it's nice. Let's go out and enjoy a day at the park. But when you're leaving, it's goddamn fucking bullpen again. You know, doesn't make me feel better watching that team. It just doesn't. How can you be up like 5-1 against a team that's only won 6 of their last 33 games or something like that, and then proceed to just hand them the game? You bring Henches in, he gives up 4 runs just like that. It's a tie game. And then they, of course, get the runs that they need to win because their confidence comes back. I wish it would just stop. And the Ravens have signed veteran running back. You might remember Melvin Gordon. Spent 5 seasons, I should say, with the Chargers. 2 Pro Bowl selections. That was all the way back in 2017 and 2018. Here more recently, he joined Denver and he ended up with a career low 318 rushing yards. Way to go, Ravens. You just need another guy to pound into the line. I do wish you well. How the mighty have fallen. Kemba Walker signs a 1-year deal contract with AS Monaco. He's becoming a EuroLeague player. That's what you do when you're too old to make it in the NBA and when you never played defense in the first place. The Jacksonville Jags are really pimping the fact their assistant strength coach, Kevin Maxson, has come out and acknowledged that he's gay, and it has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. I don't understand. I appreciated reading Kevin's story. Kevin is a Jacksonville Jaguar through and through and a key member of our football team and community. That's the owner, Shad Khan. Khan! Does he do his job or doesn't he? Kevin Maxson is a man. He's a person. He's a human being. Of course, has as many rights as you have and I have. He's either good at his job or he isn't good at his job. I don't care if he's gay. It's not a reason to jump up and down and go, yes! Do you believe in gay miracles? Yes! It's not like that. I want qualified, good people to do good jobs. And if he does that, God bless him. And as far as his personal life, I hope he's happy in his personal life. One last story before I get out of here. The Commanders' Dan Snyder has been fined $60 million over the findings in an investigation that was an ongoing investigation that started basically after the team was sold. You know, this is such a charade. The NFL is a charade. When they want somebody out, they get somebody out. All right? Leagues have to do this. The NBA had to get rid of Ted Stepien out of Cleveland all those years ago. They had to do it. There was no choice because he ruined the franchise. Dan Snyder's a fucking idiot. And God only knows what shenanigans were going on within that organization. So they fined him $60 million after an independent investigation concluded that he sexually harassed a team employee and that the team withheld revenue from the NFL. As a little parting shot, $60 million doesn't mean dick to Dan Snyder because he sold the team and made a ton of fucking money. The league just wanted him out. Beginning, middle, and end of story. If you're looking for justice, there's not any. The Commanders sold for $6.05 billion. The fine represents 1% of the sale price. Need I say more? That's what you call a slap on the wrist. I guess there is one other thing I wanted to say. What in the hell has happened to the Tampa Bay Rays? What in the hell has happened? Do you remember the great start they got off to this year? Baltimore started the day in first place for the first time after the All-Star break since 2016. The Orioles were 6.5 games back at the beginning of July and now have a 1-game lead. But the Rays have fallen apart. They got off to that incredible start. Didn't look like anyone would be able to catch them. Wrong. I can just see Dwayne Stat now. I don't want to go to the fucking ballpark if this is all the better this team can do. I am sick and tired of us losing. Yeah, this doesn't usually happen to the Rays. They usually really have a good consistency factor. And if you put them on the field with the Yankees, they will always win. Yeah, to get off to that kind of a start. Oh, one more thing. This is what you love to hear about incoming players to the NFL. Vikings rookie Jordan Addison cited for going 140 miles per hour in a 55 zone. Now, let me just say something very simply here. He was cited for speed and reckless driving after an officer clocked him driving 140 miles an hour on a freeway just outside of St. Paul, Minnesota. He was the number 23 pick in the draft, but he was not arrested. But the investigation into the incident is ongoing. What does that mean? How could he not be arrested? Somebody kind of get him off the hook? 140 miles an hour. And you're thinking to yourself, what in the hell was he driving 140 miles? What kind of car? A Lamborghini Urus. Now, so he also missed the part of the preseason talk about how to manage your money when you're a number 23 pick. He went out and bought himself a Lamborghini, and he's likely to kill himself or somebody else. That is beyond flaky behavior. It's dangerous behavior. Keep your eye on this nutcase. I just don't understand. Man, if I were management on that team, I would say if this guy doesn't have an absolutely amazing practice season, I'd get rid of him now before he does damage to the organization. And that's what I have. Oh, and the Panthers did sign their number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, to a $37.9 million all guaranteed deal. He was the top quarterback picked, the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. They need a quarterback badly, and we'll see if the Alabama graduate can take care of that or not. Hey, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And this is where it all begins, not this podcast, season-wise. And I've got, I'm looking forward to seeing, what's coming up with the Browns, with the Cavaliers, not so much the Guardians, and the halftime and post-game football shows will be starting up pronto. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I look forward to it. And I thank everybody for tuning in and watching. Until Monday, and I'll see you then. Hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.